ladies and gentlemen, and welcome. Thanks very much for coming along to the Smugglers tonight. Our speakers tonight are Russ and Norm from the Weymouth Lions. We know them well because when we started off, 3 years ago, it was the Lions who gave us our first chunk of funding to get flyers and the banner going. So we're very, very grateful to the Lions. And they're going to speak tonight a little bit more about the work that they do.
Things that people do to get their picture taken.
Yes. So a warm welcome to Russ and Norm.
Thanks very much. That's what I intend to do tonight, is to tell you about the Lions Club, where it comes from, why are we in existence, what do we do, and what being a Lion actually means to me. And I'm fortunate tonight because of our involvement with you, most of you have actually heard of the Lions Club. But I do find as I go around the country to various places and I say I'm in the Lions Club, we also, well, who's that then? Most people have heard of Rotary. In this country, Rotary is bigger than Lions Club, but globally Lions Club is a bigger club, but we'll explain that. So where did it all comes from? The very first Lions Club started in America in 1911, and it was formed by a man called Dr. William Woods, and it was called the Royal Order of Lions. It was a bit of a secret society. It was certainly men only, and it was all about self-interest. It wasn't prepared to help anybody else. So it all sort of folded away. We move forward again. Chicago, 1917. An insurance salesman by the name of Melvin Jones had this radical idea. And he said, why don't we have a club and then we help the community? We don't just help ourselves, we help other people. Rotary at the time was still sort of self-interest. Nobody had done this before. So he contacted various people around the US and said, look, how about we form this club? And that's what they did. They formed this club to help other people. And they called it Lions. And that stood for Liberty, Intelligence, Our Nation's Safety. Great. So then the next stage is we need a logo. Do you want to do...
I turned it round too early the first time I did this.
Yeah, you got told off.
Got told off.
Hello, John. So hence they formed the logo, and you can see it's a double-headed lion, not because we're two-faced. It's designed this way as a two-headed lion. One lion looking back to the past, all the previous glories, all the previous good work they've done, and the other face looking to the future, for all the future events that are going to come through. This now is an internationally recognised global symbol. Anywhere now in the world, got the badges, we're all proud to be a lion. Came to this country 1950, and that was Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother. She was so impressed with the Canadian Lions and all the good work they did, particularly with young people. She actually asked them would they help form a club. So the very first Lions Club in this country was in London in 1950, and it quickly spread. It came to Weymouth in 1969, and in them days it used to be held in the Golden Lion pub in Weymouth. And the first Lion president was a bloke called Robbie Robinson. By all accounts was a short, rotund, jolly man, and they wanted to form a club contrary to Rotary. Rotary was seen at the time as being a bit stuffy, so let's have another club. And so he formed the first Lions Club. Now almost every town in this country has got a Lions Club. We have one, Weymouth and Portland, Dorchester's got one, Bridport's got one, Wareham's got one. So that's what it's all about. We try and keep clubs locally, and that's what we try and do. We have this motto, we serve, and we always say within the club, we always think about people less fortunate than ourselves. So that's what we try and do, is help our own community. So if you want help, no good if you live in Dorchester, because Dorchester Lions will help you. But before we get too sidetracked on that one, we're going to come back to that. We also have something called the LCIF, and that's the Lions Club International Foundation. Now what that means is we as members, we pay a membership, and part of our membership fee goes to the LCIF, and that's a fund of money that anywhere on the globe, if there's a disaster, we can instantly put money into it. We don't give it the government, we give it to the nearest Lions Club and say, go sort it. I'll read this out because I got this off the internet with Norman's help a week ago. Don't worry, Norm, I'm not going to stitch you up.
You said that last month.
Yeah. Right, the latest cyclone idea in Malawi, Mozambique and Zimbabwe. So the LCIF made 3 initial grants. 2 initially of $10,000 US, and they were emergency funds, and they made a major catastrophe grant of $50,000. So within 24 hours, we donated $70,000 to the fund, and it goes to the local Lions Club and say, go sort it out, whatever you need. So, but we don't sort of tell anybody, that's what we do, we know we do it. Rotary, I know John's been in Rotary, they do the shelter boxes, absolutely wonderful, but ours is instant. They did a survey a few years ago amongst local businesses, or globally amongst the businesses, and said, of all the people you deal with, charity-wise and other groups, who's the best person, who's the best group you've ever dealt with? Rotary came 7th, and they were cock-a-hoop, told everybody. We came first and never said a word to anybody. And that's what we do. So unfortunately, it's not fortunate, a lot of the work we do within the club, we can't tell you about. So it may well be, our priority is children. If children are involved, let's do what we can to help people with children. We don't buy cars, we don't put money into houses to renovate houses. But if somebody's got something, a piece of equipment they want, and we can help, everything's made by the club, is a decision made by the club. It's not one person saying, I want to do this. We put it to the club and say, look, this is what we want to do. Do you want to take a vote on this? It may well be somebody says, look, I've just, typical nowadays, whether you know or not, if you're going into social housing and you're awarded a social house, it comes empty. There's no carpets, there's no curtains, there's nothing. Even if somebody the day before has put brand new carpets and curtains in, they're all taken out and it's left empty again. And so we might have a young family saying, look, I've got young children, I'm moving into this house, I've got some carpets or something. So that's the kind of thing that we go for. And one of the things, personally, help, which is one of the reasons I do it, is a few years ago when I was president, we had a man, he was a car mechanic, and his daughter suffered from Angelman syndrome. Anybody here heard of Angelman syndrome? This doesn't feel pain. She will have a normal lifespan, but she could put her hand in a fire and not feel any pain whatsoever. So social services, bless, said, look, you're living in this house at Dorchester, you're either going to move to a bigger house or we're going to take this girl off you and put her in care. So he was forced to move to a bigger house in Weymouth. And the one thing he wanted, they couldn't leave this girl unattended. She could injure herself and never know about it. So he said, what I want to do is have a small room and pad the walls with rubber padding so we can leave her. So he asked the club, we voted on it and said, yeah, that's what we're here for. And I actually went round to his house to present him with a cheque to pay for this wall. You'd have thought he'd won the pools. The tears of joy, and it was life-changing to him, such a small amount for us. And that's what we do. We change people's lives without ever knowing. So I'm going to keep coming back and forwards about what we can do. So what we say to people, such as yourself, and we have helped the group, if we can do something to help you, but conversely, what can you do for us? Well, next time you see, wherever you go in the world, if you see a lion's emblem and they're collecting money, think about putting something in the box. You might well just change somebody's life that you don't even know about. And that's what we do. We're here to change people's lives. So what do we do to try and raise money? And that seems to be the main thing. What do we do? Is try and raise money, because money is a great answer to a lot of things. No particular order, but Christmas Day we have the harbour swim. Anybody actually done it yet? And that was started years ago by two licensees having a bet that they could swim across the harbour. And it's developed. In the early days when I first joined the club and we started to do it, we'd be lucky if we had sort of like 22 swimmers. Now we get something in the region of 400. Big, and it's Christmas morning. I feel great. You go down Christmas morning, I personally don't swim, but it's nice, you spend a couple of hours. And what we say to people, such as yourself, we're laying on this event, you can use it for your own advantage. If you want to use our event to raise money for your own causes, please do so. So we might make £3,000 or £4,000 on the day, but we've actually enabled other people to raise £25,000. So that's one of the things we do. We do a show for the senior citizens. Anybody been to that one? I know Anne has. And John. So again, it's our way of saying it's a free show for people over the age of 60, usually the last Tuesday in November, and it's our way of saying thanks very much. We'll put on a free show. All the acts give their time free of charge. We have to pay, but we try and offset that with other costs, and we put on a free show. Moving on to the summertime, Norman and his what's your band called again?
Replay. It was Anne and me that started.
Yeah. Well, we do a street busk. And we put a stage in the middle of the town outside the HSBC bank, and we invite musicians to come and play free of charge all day, and we have to stand there with a tin, rattling the tin. And it's true to say, you get something like Replay, it's very popular, and people will stop and listen and put money in the tin. What else do? We got, October, motocross on the beach. We've done several times now, we've done a beach cleanup. It's all about helping the community. I'm a great believer is you only get out of the community what you put into it. It's all very easy to sit back and say, somebody else would do that. But that's what we do. We want to get involved. So we always are open to ideas, ladies and gents. If you think there's a project that you think Lions could do with that, we'll go and do it. But there are other things that we can do to help you that doesn't cost money. Anybody got one of these? Yes, thank you. I've got one of these at home myself. Message in a bottle. You get a form and you get 2 green crosses. And the idea of this is if there's any information that you want, if there's a problem and the emergency services terminate, paramedics, firemen, ambulance, doctors, they all know about this scheme. What you do on this one is you put a green cross, one of the green cross, just inside your front door somewhere. So if somebody comes in, they see a green cross and instantly they say, there's a container here with information that we need. Wherever you're going to put the bottle, you put the green cross next to it. So most people, and in my house, it's in my fridge. And a lot of people put it in the fridge. So I've got a green cross on my fridge. My wife is allergic to penicillin, but it doesn't have to be medical. It could well be that you want somebody to know that you're not very well. Put it on the form. Can you please tell my next of kin? Whatever. Can you take the dog for a walk? Whatever you think is vital to help you get better goes in there. These are free of charge. So please, I've got several in here. Those who haven't got one, please take one. You might not think, oh well, I'm okay, I don't need one, but nobody knows what's around the corner. And that's why we're all here anyway. So please, take one of these home and use it. Put it in your fridge or wherever. And not every town are doing these. So you could go to places. We think it's a great scheme. Why everybody else isn't doing it, I don't know. And the other thing that you might want, looks like a bit of paper, it's actually plastic. It's called a plugster. Got our logo on it, and you actually wrap it around a 3-pin plug so you can pull the plug out of the wall. So if you know of any relative or yourselves who finding it difficult to try and grab the plug, these are called plugsters, that's what it's there for. And if you're going to take some, just don't take one, because you're not going to keep transferring it from plug to plug. Think about the devices you've got at home and how many realistically do you need. If you need 5 or you need 10, take them, please. But every time you look at it, you'll think about us. Every time you pass a collection bucket, you'll think about the Lions Club and you think, yes, I can support them, I can do that. Anything else you want to add, Norman?
Yes, thank you. Russ has spoken very eloquently about what we do locally, but Lions is an international organisation. As he said, it's the largest in the world in terms of service organisation. And many years ago, early on, Lions were recognised as being really passionate about saving sight. And we were nicknamed by Helen Keller Knights of the Blind. Just one very quick thing. In America, there was a lion who noticed that blind people were being led across the road. Didn't necessarily know that they were blind. So he introduced the white stick. So lions are responsible for the white stick. Interesting bit of information you might find useful at a quiz.
Yeah, and just to let you know, and again, the latest figures, and I said, okay, we accept Rotary in this club are bigger than, in this country, bigger than Lions. We do very similar work. So, you know, I'm not going to say we're better than Rotary or vice versa. But globally, we're far bigger. And the latest figure says that at the moment, within the Lions Club, we have 1.4 million members. We have 43,300 clubs, and we're in 182 countries.
Wow.
Some countries, it's checkbook linism. They don't actually do anything. They have a meeting and they all throw some money in a pot, but it all gets spent locally. Here, we try and do events. We try and get a profile. And as I said, sometimes we help people, and we can't tell anybody. It's sensitive. We can't say, oh yeah, we've given Mrs. Jones a new washing machine. So again, but rest assured that if you do put money in the box, it all goes back into our community. We do support the LCIF. That's a pot of money. They've just given $70,000 to Africa, so the pot's empty. So they come to us and say, look, is there any chance you can give us a bit more money? And the club agrees and says yes, because who knows, the next disaster could be here. Hopefully it's not going to happen, but nobody ever knows what's going to happen. And we'd love to be able to go to the LCF and say, look, we need some money now. So that's what we do. By and large, we don't try and give to other charities, because if you've been stood on a street corner for 6 hours shaking a tin, you don't want to go and give it all away to somebody else. But we do recognise there are people who need support, such as yourself, to kickstart the hub down the road. We kickstart them as well, because we think that's helping the community, and that's what we're all about. Every one of us here is here to help the community. So all I can say is, ladies and gents, thanks for your time, and hopefully we'll see you in the bar afterwards. You can buy me a drink.
Can I make a little point about prostate cancer?
Yes, please, John. That's why I did ask you. Yep.
Yeah, but I thought I went to it was prostate cancer. Good evening. I've got this thing about men ignoring the symptoms of prostate cancer. A few years ago now, I did a fundraiser in the town, and along with a colleague, we went around the various pubs and the clubs, and the number of men and the women that we approached, they all knew somebody who had it, had suffered from it, or had died. And it was amazing. You read in the press and you hear on TV the number of men who die of prostate cancer, and they're their own worst enemies because they don't do anything about it. They're probably like me with a lot of things. I'll give it a week and I'll go to the doctors, and that week it just makes it too late. So this is the thing about the walk we're going to do in the summer. It's as much about awareness of prostate cancer. And we're also doing blood testing in the pavilion. The dates off the top of my head,
June, that, isn't it?
20 something of May.
Yeah. And then
20 something of May is one, and then June, is it phlebotomist, we've got them in, and they're going to blood test men. So if you want to be blood tested, make sure you get your name down and you can be booked in and be tested. And it's always a good start to pretend. If you get a bad measure, you'll be told, go and see a doctor.
If somebody wants to do that, where do they write their name down and where do they go?
If you come to the seafront on the...
20...
Anyone got a list?
I've not got it in my diary, I'm sorry, John.
No.
We'll let you know on that, but we've got a walk in May on
We
the
can,
seafront and you can register.
contact the club, I'm sure, and
I'll find the date on your website and I'll put it in our next newsletter. That'll be brilliant.
I'm sure it will be on the website.
Yeah.
All the information will be there. And as Russ said, last year it was very successful. And I would really recommend men, if you have the slightest doubt, then go and see your doctor. I know some doctors, they're really in favour of blood testing. Some, they think, well, no, we'll wait, you know, something will wait, because if you take a test and it shows it's slightly high, then of course you've got the worry then. So they tend to balance one against the other. But at least if you have the test, you can then make a choice. So I'd recommend that if anybody, women as well, it's not just for men, women can come along and support the number of women whose husbands have died of it.
I'll just say, John, that up until latter part of last year, we were a completely men-only club. But now we have 2 ladies, and we have another one who's coming along in the pipeline. Maybe they will say, well, actually, why can't we do something to raise awareness? You know. So now that we have ladies in the club, which has been a big step for Weymouth and Portland Lions, but so far it's been fine, no problems at all. You know, even though some men thought, oh dear, this is it, it's the demise, you know, life will cease. We won't be able to tell dirty jokes or anything like that at our meetings.
And we still do.
You'll still do that, haven't seen mine. And there's one Lioness club down on the south coast at Hart who will only have lady members.
It took us 50 years to get ladies into the club, but they're welcome in the club and they're equal, and it's actually renovated our club. They come with new ideas, so I think it's really good that we now have ladies, and as Norm said, we've got 2, we've got some more in the pipeline.
Darren, the young chap, he went to a Lions club in California. I think it was a lunch club or something like that, and that was all women. There were no men at all. But they didn't exclude men, it's just the way that, you know, it all depends on the society and the social requirements of locally. Sorry, Ross.
No, it's fine.
We're busting in on your...
Absolutely. Well, we've about come to an end. Those who don't know me, I'll just end on a bad joke. I was in the police locally for 30 years, and I always tell police stories because they're true. But I remember I stopped a motorist one day speeding. I said, why are you speeding? He said, well, officer, it's a matter of life or death. I said, what does that mean? He said, I've got a naked lady in bed at home, and if I don't get back before the wife, she'll kill me. But again, thanks for your time, and I'll go back to it again, please, ladies and gents. See the sign. You now know who we are and what we're all about. We're here to help everybody's life to become a bit better. So please, we can support you anytime. You want something, just give us a ring or contact us and say, look, you've done it before, can you come and support us? We need this bit of equipment.
How do we find you?
Peter will know where we are. Yeah. We actually meet at the Rembrandt Hotel twice a month.
Where's your phone number? If you wanted to know something.
It's on the website.
It's on the website,
Yeah, and you'll get through to me. We'll be putting that on our website and maybe our Facebook page as well, and if you want to sort of share it on yours, that'd be great. So hopefully it will draw attention to a wider audience as to what you do and what we do.
Yeah. And the last one I'll tell you, again, true story. I was at Eastern Square one morning on duty, 5 o'clock in the morning, decided to stop a car because there's nothing else to do, you've got an hour to kill. Go around the driver's side and said, "Is this your car, sir?" And he said, "No, it's not." I said, "All right, you got permission to drive it?" He said, "No, I haven't." "Oh, right." I said, "You got any insurance?" He said, "No, I haven't." "You got a driving licence?" He said, "No." "Why not?" He said, "I'm not driving." He is, it's a left-hand drive. But we go on to different subjects.
Well, on that note, let me say a huge thank you to Russ, to Norman and to John for speaking to us tonight. And I mean, I think we've all seen the lion symbol, we all knew a little bit about it, but some of the work that you do behind the scenes to support individuals that you can't sort of share with the public, that's really interesting. So
Please, I'll put them on the table, come and take them. Even if you don't want them for yourself, you might have a relative who thinks they can make use of that. And that helps to spread the word. So please come take it. And the plasters, again, help yourself. We say don't just take one. If you need 10, take 10. Got plenty more. And again, thanks for your time, and there you go.
no, we really appreciate you
You
giving
might
us
come
the
back
time.
again and do another talk about something else.
Thanks very much indeed.